In our culture, we're saturated with media. It's hard to avoid. Through internet, advertisements, cell phones, it's all around us. And because we're so surrounded by it, we often process their messages without really knowing it. That can be a dangerous thing.
For most of us, when we're exposed to the media, we engage in something called automatic processing. This means that our minds are basically put on autopilot, filtering out the messages we don't want and narrowing in on the ones we do. This can be helpful. It helps us to make decisions. But with continued exposure and automatic processing over time, we eventually reject more and more messages. Then we don't see the value in any message. And that media is basically useless to us.
I worry about the effect media has on our lifestyles. We're choosing to spend more time with the internet, Facebook, and other media than with the people around us. I am afraid that this problem will only get worse as long as people continue to be passive consumers of media and don't realize the negative effects it can have. And the surprising thing is, we've lived for thousands of years without all this stuff, and now it's like we can't live without it. Because of television, video games, the internet, all these things that stimulate our senses without requiring interpersonal interaction, we as a culture have become less likely to seek out interactions with other people. Scholars agree. Rapidly, our technology is creating a new kind of human being, one who is plugged into machines instead of relationships. Even reading, something considered to be a more healthy activity by many people, can distract us from interacting with others. I enjoy reading, fiction mostly, and I play video games. The question is, how useful are these things if I don't share them with anyone?
It's not that I think media is evil and everyone should throw out their laptops and smartphones. That's not the point. The point is to be aware of the effects media can have on you and take steps to mitigate them.
Here are some positive effects. Media offer learning. The internet is a great resource for research and finding out anything you need to know. The media help us form an opinion. By viewing the media, we see others' opinions and differing viewpoints, which help us to form our own. Media help us manage our moods. We listen to calming music when we're stressed, or watch a funny show when we're sad. Media offers functionality, from business organization to communicating across distances and staying in contact with distant loved ones. Here are some negative effects. Media influences our attitudes. Research has shown that exposure to advertisements have caused people to become more materialistic, have idealistic expectations about life, and to distrust people in general. Opinions presented in the media can be biased. If we aren't active consumers of media, it's easier to believe everyone's opinion, and so we have a harder time figuring out our own. Media influences our behaviors. For example, when we watch an advertisement for potato chips, we are more likely to go out into the kitchen or run to the store in search of potato chips. Media promotes less face-to-face interaction. Today, it is much easier to send an email rather than speak directly to a person. Media blurs the line between reality and fantasy. People think this is how the world really is, and so they have unrealistic expectations when they go out into the real world. This is where media literacy comes in. If we become more media literate, then these negative effects will be lessened, and the positive effects will be strengthened. Media literacy is us being more active in our media consumption. It helps us to recognize messages for what they are, analyze and organize them into something that is useful to us. Media literacy helps us to be active consumers and avoid those negative effects. Now you say, okay, how do I become more engaged in the media? How do I become more media literate? There's no perfect way to do this. Everyone needs to develop their own media consuming strategy that works for them. But here are some guidelines. Step 1. Strengthen your personal locus. Your personal locus is a combination of your goals and your drive to achieve those goals. So you ask, what do you need? How does the media fill that need? Step 2. Focus on useful goals. Even if you just want to be entertained with the media, come up with something simple, like comparing all the things that happen in the show to see if they're reality or fantasy. Step 3. Develop an awareness of your exposure. Are you broadening your exposure to different media? Try new music, websites, TV shows. This will give you the opportunity to find more messages you like and will exercise your media literacy muscles. Step 4. Take personal responsibility. It's easy to blame the media for its influences on the world, but take responsibility for its effect on you. Develop your strategy based on these 4 steps, and you'll be able to avoid those negative effects media can have on you. I mentioned earlier that people are less likely to seek socialization due to the media, at least face-to-face. And actually, research has shown that people who interact more with others are less affected by the media. So we need to make sure we aren't letting media fill every need in our life. Our need for face-to-face interaction is one of the strongest needs people have. But media today encourage us not to seek it out. And really, the media can offer good excuses to get together with your friends or family. We can play video games together, go to the movies, even watch TV, as long as we actively talk about it together and continue to use our media literacy skills. But if we really want to avoid the negative effects of media, we should remove our dependency on them as much as possible. Remember that we lived for thousands of years without the technology and media we have today, and that being with others is important to our well-being. The positive effects of media can't outweigh the positive effects of socializing and interacting with others in the real world.